What's up guys, it's Project, and I thought it would be neat to make a different kind of video than the usual you might have been seeing a lot of, those videos being the gameplay aspect of things. However, for this video, I wanted to focus on the story aspect of Monster Hunter World, and speculate on the reasoning of why you're there and how the game might play out till the very end. So, it's time to put on our theory caps and let's theorize based on trailers and the information given so far of how things will play out. As a disclaimer, I will be talking about some spoilers, mostly from bringing up the leaked monster roster, but also from past games. So if you want to stay in the black and want everything to be a surprise, well, you might want to avoid watching further. Not that I have definitive proof of things, we're all just speculating, but I feel some monsters in the leaked list do play some role in the story. So now that you've been warned, let's get started.
Though we have learned much, what we have are mere facts, and not a single clue to what truth they add up to.
From the various trailers and such, this game seems to be taking the biggest steps in the story department compared to past games. They've shown a lot of cutscenes, and the standout to me is the revolvement and highlights of various characters. Past games have always put story on the back burner, with arguably the best attempt at good story and characters being Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. It had a wonderful cast of characters, and those characters guided alongside you through the story and uncovering of everything. You participated with them, you felt a part of the team, and the various cutscenes made you appreciate them more as you made your way uncovering the secrets of the source that's spreading the frenzy virus. This is something that was completely discarded in the newest entry for the West, Generations, who favored content and gameplay instead, with a cast you've barely cared about and a bad story overall that you barely paid attention to because of the way they told the story. Having made a new save in Generations and completing the story once more, I can for sure say this was the case in my opinion. With World, however, it seems we're returning to the For You-like focus on plot and characters, but cranking it up to 11. So it's actually something worth being excited for and not just a secondary thing. To get some context on why we're hunting in this place, I'll read the description on the official World site for you guys. Once every decade, elder dragons trek across the sea to travel to the land known as the New World, in a migration known as the Elder Crossing. To get to the bottom of this mysterious phenomenon, the Guild has formed a research commission, dispatching them in large fleets to the New World. As the commission sends its 5th fleet in pursuit of the colossal elder dragon known as Zora Magdaros, one hunter is about to embark on a journey grander than anything you could have ever imagined. So, this is the basic plot of the game. This new world, presumably recently discovered, is attracting elder dragons from other landmasses, and you, the new hunter, a part of one of the 5 fleets, are sent to this island of sorts to discover its secrets. Fairly simple. We also know the game actually revolves around stars, hence the main theme for the game being driven by the stars, which is used often in many of the trailers released thus far. That phrase, driven by the stars, is potentially a big hint at the underlying purpose of why these fleets are really coming to the New World. While I won't go into detail or speculation of the characters exactly, since there's not much info outside of dialogue snippets from trailers, I will go into depth about this image they released a while back, displaying a mural of sorts, which I find to be pretty fascinating and is potentially the key to unlocking the secrets to the journey of this game. So immediately you can see there's a lot going on, but also immediately you can notice front and center is a giant star. Also in the bottom right you see a human hand holding what looks like mini stars, 5 exactly. The number 5 seems to be a theme for this game as, well, this is Monster Hunter 5 essentially, as the devs themselves have said. You have 5 stars in the hand, 5 fleets, but also 5 moon phases, which we'll talk about later. But the stars in this context aren't actual stars, I believe. A star is basically a big ball of gas and plasma, so would it make sense for a certain star in the sky to hold significance when the hand is also holding such stars? So, if you turn your attention to the top right, you'll see a star, but also some sort of pattern below it, as if to say the star is moving downwards, aka a falling star. So this game isn't about a star, it's about a falling star. Now, What is a falling star, you say? It's a meteor. And what is right below that picture of the falling star is this new world. So from what I gather, this new world was either created via a meteor and thus creating new life, as this cool old lady says.
It's an ecological marvel. One that easily dwarfs any I have ever seen.
So something clearly not normal, as it's something she's never seen before, or this meteor simply struck the island and awakened something or caused some sort of instability or such that elder dragons are migrating here to maintain order or prevent whatever was slumbering from awakening or getting off the island, whether that's Zorah Magdaros or Nergigante or something else entirely. I'm not sure. But that's what the hand with stars signifies, human fighting these star pieces, aka meteor material that's probably special or valuable, which then leads to the boat on the bottom with the human on it, signifying they too cross seas to get to this new world. So I speculate that's the underlying meaning of coming here. Humans are probably coming to this new world for the fragments of the meteor. So that pretty much explains the right side, so now we can move on to the middle, which is more complex and harder to decipher. I believe this entire middle scene is to represent the Elder Crossing. Thus, all these monsters in the middle are elder dragons. The most obvious one is the giant monster on the bottom. That is almost certainly Zorah Magdaros, you can tell by the face. What's confusing is the wings or tendrils attached to him and some sort of arrows going outwards between them. Maybe that simply means he's connected to the 4 dragons flying around him somehow. On each of the 4 dragons are symbols, which I'm going to guess represent what element they use or what area they came from, as the bottom left one has the same kind of symbols as the symbols in the New World scene on the right. If I had to guess, it represents the desert area where the symbols are cacti. So from the newest trailers, we know of 2 elder dragons that are confirmed, Kushala and Teostra. So that means they're represented in this picture somehow, perhaps the upper left being Teostra with the star-like symbols representing the explosive dust he creates, and the bottom right being Kushala with the rectangles representing wind or blizzards. However, that leaves 2 dragons unaccounted for. Before you say Nergigante, he's actually in the middle, just above Zorah. You can see his head essentially with his horns being the tail. From the trailers, he seems to be the closest to Zorah Magdaros, as he's seen fighting on top of Zorah Magdaros, fighting off the humans that somehow got on Zorah Magdaros' back. However, the title given onto him and his appearance in general says quite the opposite, the title being Extinction Dragon. So is he the anti-hero, awakened under a full moon to take down Zorah Magdaros, thus the other elder dragons cross to protect him from nergigante, or is it the opposite, Zorah Magdaros uses him to protect him and the 2 are joined forces? The word extinction is indicative of a meteor, so nergigante could be the product of the meteor that fell on to the new world. And what of the moon phases? If you look closely, you'll see arrows pointing to the next phase. However, they don't end at full moon, they continue going back down. So I think this means this whole Elder Crossing takes place during a specific moon period once every decade, and the game will take place during this hectic occurrence. I think that's what the moon phases represent, and once it disappears, they go back to their normal locations or slumber. And perhaps Nerg or Zorah are most active or strongest during the full moon phase, since the star above it is shining brilliantly. What that star signifies, I'm not so sure of, as I doubt the Elder Dragons are coming here for meteorite fragments. They clearly have some other purpose.
So, tell me, what's your theory? The Elder Dragons must migrate to the New World for some reason.
Before I speculate on the 2 Elder Dragons we haven't figured out yet, I'd like to cover perhaps the most mysterious thing about this entire mural, and that's the left side. For many games, the final boss of the game was always under wraps and seldom shown in trailers, if at all. And while you may think Nergigante or Zorah Magdaros are the last bosses if you haven't played the last games, those who have know the most advertised monsters aren't usually the last ones. Nothing we've seen from the trailers hints or alludes at all to what the left side is, but I think it's hinting at the final boss of the game. Traditionally, things are read from right to left in Japan instead of left to right like in the West, and I think this mural can be read the same way. We started with the falling star, onto the new world appearing, and then humans eventually finding fragments. They set sail and travel by sea to the new world and experience the Elder Dragon crossing, and by doing so, they go through all the moon phases of the Elder Crossing until eventually are faced with a monster or monsters of sorts. I think the left side represents the ending of the journey, and it's not a good one, perhaps due to the meddling of humans. The same boat and person that started on the right now is on the left, but faced against serpents of the sea. This is either some flashback or the actual ending of the game, which the devs have announced that the story leads into high rank, so this matches up with being even later than finding Nergigante or Zora Magdaros, which are likely the fights to transition from low rank to high rank. The weird thing is it's clearly a Leviathan of sorts, and I'm going to go on a stretch and say it's a Hydra, a series first. It's not one serpent, it's multiple serpents, 5 exactly. So an easier way of making it one monster to fight is a Hydra, some sort of sea Hydra that comes from the water. Also another fact, the entire new world is surrounded by water, as it's essentially an island. Within the Rotten Vale map, there is water in the deep parts of the map underground. Rotten Vale is essentially a mass grave, probably due to the meteorite hitting and causing a mass extinction. We know there's a Dalamadur skeleton in said map, and was likely killed by the falling star, or what came from it. While I don't think this Hydra will be taking place in the Rotten Vale, as there's already potential Elder Dragon there already,
The new zombie-like dragon revealed that we don't know the name of still.
I do think this Hydra fight is connected to the Rotten Vale. The maps and world are taking place only in the New World, which is an island of sorts, and some parts of the map hint at bleeding into the other, such as Wildspire Waste being likely connected to Ancient Forest, since within Wildspire there's a small section on the left side where it's actually a forest-like area. So I think the Hydra will have a special small map to itself, much like how Nakarkos had its own area in Generations. But that is my theory on the left side. Let me know what you guys think it is. But that's essentially my prediction for the story. Humans find fragments and explore the new world, get caught up in Elder Migration, they end up meddling in the tradition like humans always do, screw up what Zora or the other elders are trying to do, and that unleashes the serpents from the deep and threatens the entire islands and fleets there. If you take one more look at the left side with the serpents swirling up, you see humans within the current. Hence me thinking it's either a flashback of the serpent rising once in the past and taking the lives of many, or it's of the future and what you encounter with the humans representing the fleets being lost to the unleashed serpent. So I'm really excited to experience whatever the Monster Hunter team has in store for us with this story. I think it's going to be better than a lot are giving it credit for, and may become another reason to own Monster Hunter, not just for the combat. Crossing fingers, it's at least good, so let me know in the comments what you guys think of my theory, or what are your own theories based on the info given.
Then that means the Elder Crossing is upon us again.
Before I end the video, let's try to decipher what the two missing Elder Dragons were from the center. And this is where the leaked monster roster comes into play. This list is almost 100% guaranteed to be the official monsters in the base game and some DLC. And while it is old and they may have added more monsters to the base game roster, it's safe to say at least these monsters are most likely going to appear in the game eventually. It may not be the final count, but the point is they're in, since the list has confirmed every single monster revealed from trailers so far, and no revealed monster has not been on the list, so it's 99% chance to be accurate. The only large monsters we haven't seen from the trailers are Lunastra, Kirin, Orochi Kirin, Alatreon, Pink Rathian, Azure Rathalos, Black Diablos, Xeno'jiiva, Valhazak, Bazelgeuse, and something called Treasure Dragon once translated from Japanese. So excluding the Raft subspecies and Black Diablos, that leaves 8 potential monsters to be 2 of the flying dragons seen in the mural. Kirin, while it is an Elder Dragon, does not have wings like a traditional Elder Dragon, so I'll also exclude him and his subspecies, bringing us down to 6. 2 we know of, Lunastra and Alatreon, 4 we don't have a clue of and never seen before. One of those 4 new names is going to be the Rotten Veil monster from the Elder Dragon trailer, as we still haven't got his name, so it's likely one of these 4 names. While not confirmed, people are speculating it to be an Elder Dragon as well, either using Fatalis' skeleton since this one move makes him stand upright like Fatalis, or it's using the more common Elder Dragon skeleton Kushala uses. It might be unique as well, however, but the point is people think it's an Elder Dragon. The question is the Rotten Veil monster migrating like Teostra or Kushala? Or is it simply there and not a part of the 4 flying monsters in the mural? I'm not too sure about that, but he is a potential candidate. You might say, well, how about Lunastra or Elatrion? And to be honest, I think it's 50-50, either both will be DLC or both will be in the base game. However, I don't think Elatrion is one of the 4 dragons, simply because I think he's technically too powerful to be such, since he basically uses the elements of Lunastra, Kushala, and Teostra, and I suppose Kirin as well. Not only that, but he's the super endgame boss secreted away in any game he's in, and generally is the final monster in the game to beat, not for the story, but just as an extra endgame monster. So knowing such details, he could also be DLC I suppose. However, I doubt he's of the 4 flying dragons. He's like the Lugia of Monster Hunter basically, where Teostra is Moltres, Kushala is Zapdos, and Lunastra is Articuno. Or I guess that would make Zorah Magdaros the Lugia since everyone's migrating for him. But yeah, it's either Lunastra is one of the 4, making it 3 we know of, with the 4th being the Rotten Veil Dragon, or one of the other 3 monsters we have no clue of. Of those 3, one of those has to be the secret final boss, while the other 2 are just monsters we haven't seen yet that could be weak, mid-range, or could be strong. So let's just say Rotten Veil monster's name ends up being Val-Hazak. That leaves Treasure Dragon, Basilgeuse, and Xeno'jiiva up for grabs. And it could be any of those, honestly. Treasure Dragon is a placeholder name for something since it was an early leak and they may not have come up with a name for it. But it could be the final one, Treasure implying the meteorite the humans are after, and the Hydra being some sort of Smaug guarding said meteorite material. Some speculate Basilgeuse is the final boss since his name meaning has to do with stars, or it could be Xeno'jiiva since Xeno and Xenomorphs go hand in hand, alien meaning being not from this world, aka from the meteorite. Though that also could be the Rotten Veil Dragon's name instead of Val-Hazak. I don't really know for sure, but what do you guys think? Sound off in the comments below your thoughts on everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's not something I normally do, but I thought it was a fun idea to speculate on story and the last few monsters from the list just to have something to hold us over till the beta arrives on the 18th for those of us in the US. I'll have the longsword combo guide before that on the 17th, then once the beta is out at 9 PM Eastern Time, I'll be streaming right away on here on YouTube to take on Nergigante, so look forward to that. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Just keep in mind, it's simply speculation. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Monhunt epicness.